You like the Warriors. My favorite play today. I like the over in that game more than I like just taking the Warriors. But again, my favorite play that I've discussed so far is going to be that Mavericks money line, letdown spot for the Lakers. Light LeBron usage is what I'm expecting. I think it's a really good spot. LeBron's mind is right now, he's on Bronny. He's on Bronny in his beginning to his USC career with a little loss against a plus 1,200 underdog. That's where LeBron's head is at. And basketball-wise, maybe it's stuck on the little in-season tournament MVP he just took down. Are they coming out to play today? Mentally, no. And physically, I don't see a lot of LeBron action. Again, TikTok guy, good to see you, bro. Good to see everyone in here. Again, we're going to be going through some of these topics here on the SoBet app Twitch. If you want to hop on there, those comments will be prioritized as we get through. Plus, we got graphics. We got further information. You're just going to get a more complete show over this next half hour if you're on there, just FYI. One more time, the free play. We'll be giving free plays out between topics. And my plays are up on SoBet every single day. If you get involved there, it's less than $10 a month. You get my stuff, you get everyone's stuff, you get write-up analysis every single day. But the play I shared already is the Mavs money line today. That's a plus 155 dog. Straight up money line. I really like that spot against the Lakers in a very good letdown spot. All right, let's get this show on the road. We have some topics we got to get to. So first, and this is only episode 3, but this is our traditional topic that we get into, that we kick off this live show every single Tuesday at 6 with. It is who is trending up and who is trending down. And to the person asking, why do I keep lying in my videos? I do it to provoke other teams. I do it to cause chaos and discord in the locker rooms of the Bills' opponents. I do it to help the Bills. You know, a lot of fans, they can't do anything to help your team. Maybe you scream loud enough and you convince yourself that you created a false start or a delay of game. But that's it. Me, no. I can create discord in a whole entire community, bring down the fan base, and make it easier for the Bills to win. So keep an eye out for some nonsense about the Cowboys this week. Go Bills. All right, let's talk about it. There you go. Let's talk about what we're looking at today. We have trending up this week, and you never thought you'd hear me say this in this context, but trending up this week, Zachary Wilson. Called out this week, all right? He went for 300 yards for the first time this entire season. He hasn't even been averaging 200 yards a game. He goes for 300. They put up 30 on the Texans. He says, hey, CJ Stroud, you think you're a big shot? I'll show you how a real quarterback plays. This is how a real number 2 overall draft pick balls out. And he went and he did his thing. I don't know if it was a little psychological experiment benching him, putting in Tim Boyle, probably the worst quarterback to ever start a game in the NFL in the last decade. Aside from Nathan Peterman, maybe. But it worked. And now Zach Wilson's balling out. And I like it because they're going up against the Dolphins, who are reeling from an atrocious loss last night. And they got a legit chance of doing it. They got a legit chance of making it happening. Shout out to Mike Litteris in the chat right there. Hell of a name and hell of a comment. But yeah, Zach Wilson is on our trending up. The Jets, now, I'm not going to get out of control here. I don't think they have playoff aspirations. I don't think they have a real shot at moving beyond this. But Zach Wilson is fighting for his NFL life. If he can ball out for these final 4 games, even play close to that level, yes, Aaron Rodgers is going to come in and do his thing. But he either waits behind Rodgers for a year or 2 while Rodgers wraps up his career and then hands him the reins, or he gets traded to a team that's ready to start him. And I can think of several teams right now that could use Zach Wilson more than others. One of which, by the way, is the Atlanta Falcons. Anyway, Zach Wilson trending up. Now, another one I'm going to put on my trending up list, the Rams. And I haven't put a team that just took an L on the trending up list yet so far, but I'm giving it to them. They're playing significantly better football than they were at the beginning of the season. They go into OT against the Ravens. It's a heartbreaking loss, but they really balled out in that game. And there were a lot of people saying they would. A lot of people saying this is a great underdog spot. This is a great position for them to come in and maybe even take this spot. You know, they were 7.5-point dogs, and they went out and they sent that game into overtime. It was a pretty good performance. Matt Stafford had one of his best games all season. It's the first time it looked like you got Kupp and Puka Nacua in there together, and they're both balling out in the same time. And now, I mean, the Rams are 6-7, which isn't great, but the way the NFC is shaping up right now, they have a very strong chance at making the playoffs. And I don't consider this team a contender, no. but a legitimate team. I would say well over 50% chance of them making the playoffs, and they could even win a playoff game. People talking about the Finns and Titans game. We're going to get into that in a moment as well, because they're going to be on the trending down list. But we got to talk about who else. Remaining on the trending down list, it's the Lions. Listen, bad game this week. Bad loss to the Bears. They almost lost to the Bears 4 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, they lost, or 2 weeks ago, they lost to the Packers. 1 week ago, they almost blew a giant lead to the Saints. This defense is exactly who we thought they would be, exactly who we feared they would be. Okay? This defense last year was absolutely atrocious. We couldn't even believe they ripped off those wins at the end of the season with that bad of a defense. And then this year we said, listen, maybe a little bit of progress. Second year, Aiden Hutchinson, their star pass rusher, we might get some action there. They might be better. And the season began, oh shit, they just held the Chiefs to 20. I know it was the Chiefs without Kelsey, but they just held the Chiefs to 20. And then we find out, well, maybe that's normal for the Chiefs. And then they played a little bit of defense for the next 5-6 games. They were right. But the last 4 or 5 weeks, this defense has been everything Lions fans were worried they would be. Everything. And it's ugly. It's a team that can't keep themselves in games. It's a team that can't consistently perform. It's a team that is liable to blow any sort of lead, especially when you love to go for it on fourth down. You love to go for it on fourth down. You give teams opportunities in good field position. You got to tell your defense. They get run all over. This team isn't a legitimate contender. I like the Lions. I want them to be good. They're still going to win their division, especially after that Packers loss last night. But they're not a legitimate contender. There's not a lot of legitimate contenders anymore. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Tua's last name is Tagovailoa. By the way, sometimes people that are commenting in the chat right now, first of all, comments in the actual SoBad app, Twitch, are going to be prioritized. But I do make videos sometimes, and I say something's wrong in the video sometimes, and those videos go viral because I know more than you. That's just all you need to know. I know how to go viral, and you don't. And I don't mind if people want to talk about, I got this wrong, I got that wrong, when I'm making up a lie about a team that I hate, like the Dolphins. Anyway, trending down, the Eagles and the Chiefs, 4 consecutive games were from last year's Super Bowl that they have lost. The Eagles and the Chiefs. They've lost 4 in a row, and they've lost 4 in a row, and it hasn't even been crazy, okay? The Chiefs lose to the Chiefs lost to the Eagles. That was the Eagles' last win, or prior to the Bills. But, yeah, the Eagles lost to the Niners, and no one even batted an eyelash. That was my biggest play of the week. Then the Eagles lost to the Niners, or then they lost to the Cowboys. Guess what? That was my biggest play of the week this time. Fading the Eagles. It's been an absolute cash grab. They're just not a good defense. And I know the offense struggled significantly in that game. I know they put up 13 points. They couldn't get a touchdown on offense. But that defense is hardly even a playoff level defense. You want to talk about Super Bowl contenders? That defense, nothing. The secondary, trash. The linebacking, banged up. Nobody good. Pass rush, mid. They got no defense. And whatever you want to say about this offense, however much you want to love on Jalen Hurts, he's not like that. He's not the type of quarterback that's going to ball out and throw for 350 yards and put your bad defensive team in there. He's a team that is going to put the pedal on the metal when the defense is dominating. You go up 2 scores, and now they're playing on their heels, and you can just do little QB draws, and you can push your way down the field and have your 8-minute drives, and that's what you do when you play with a lead. But they're not like that. They're not like that. I've been saying Niners in the Super Bowl since day one, FYI. And no surprises. I said Niners in the Super Bowl when they lost 3 in a row because I knew what happened there. Trent Williams got hurt. Deebo Samuels got hurt. Trent Williams, is he the MVP of that Niners team? Absolutely. Is he ever going to get it? No. So stop being silly. But, yeah, he's the reason for that team's success. So you better hope he stays healthy, Niners Nation. And trending down on the Chiefs and the Eagles. By the way, I'm not going to talk about the Mahomes screaming incident. I mean, everyone saw that, the offsides that they're so mad got called. Really one of the most pathetic displays I've seen. And I don't even – normally I hate on rivals, but I don't even hate on Mahomes like that. That was really ugly to see. And the way he melted down, the way the team seems to be melting down, even Andy Reid going in there and saying it, crazy. It's crazy. I would be really worried if I'm that team. Now they have 4 pretty much pushover games for the rest of the season. And they even have a shot at still getting the number 1 seed after the Dolphins blew that game because the Dolphins have a gauntlet. They're not going to get it. The Patriots should win out. They play bad, or the Chiefs should win out because they've been playing pretty weak teams down this final stretch. And then you need the Ravens to drop 2, which isn't crazy, but it's unlikely. But if that all happens, the Chiefs still take the number 1 seed. So it's not panic time. They got an easy schedule to get to the playoffs, and hopefully that'll give them a chance to recover. But they're just not a scary team. I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared of Mahomes. Mahomes gets the ball in under 2 minutes. I'm not scared of him. So I will be tuning in to the New Heights podcast this week just to lick my chops at those Kelsey boys. I don't even hate them, but I hate everyone in the league. The Bills are struggling, so I'm here to hate on everyone. But Bills aren't struggling for long. More on that shortly. That's it for our trending up, trending down segment. I hope I got everyone covered. There's some honorable mentions. People even want to say Justin Fields should be in the trending up. I need to see one more good game from him before I do that. But yeah, that's what we got. So before we get to this next topic, I want to give my second play of the day. The first play we talked about is the Mavericks money line. Okay. Fields going to the Steelers, says Dan. That's not a terrible look. That's not a terrible look at all. I would be happy with that if I'm the Steelers. I would also be happy with getting I hate Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett sucks. There's so many quarterbacks I would take over him. Fields needs to prove more before he deserves a starting job, but that's what he's fighting for. Him and Zach Wilson right now are not fighting to be on their teams next year. They're fighting to be starting somewhere else. Anyway, we already gave out the Mavericks pick. That's an underdog, plus 155 against the Lakers. My second play of the day is the over in the Nuggets-Bulls game. It's 219.5. It's just simply light. There has been some line movement, people hitting the under, so it moved it down a little bit, which means there's always an advantage there. Yes, Mavs money line tonight. But it's too light a line for a team like the Nuggets. It's a 7-point spread, which predicts a semi-close game, which would be foul heavy at the end of the game, which they're great at executing on free throws towards the end of the game. So that's going to add on points, a high-scoring fourth quarter. And you just can't put a line that low when you have the best scorer in basketball on the court. That's how I feel. We love the over 219.5. I've said this before. I'll say it again. Tuesdays in the NBA. It's the most public day of the week. They're trying to get back the money they just lost on NFL, and they got no other action, no other opportunity. Tuesdays in the NBA are where you get your money, feasting off public mistakes. All right? So those are the picks so far. We will get to one more pick, but we've got another segment coming up. It's the Lakers money line. Sorry, Mavs money line. I keep saying that. Mavs money line over the Lakers. And we got over 219.5 in the Bulls-Nuggets game. Now to our next topic. We got to talk about this. So Brandon Aubrey, the kicker for the Cowboys, okay? He set a record, 2 records actually, one that keeps extending. The one that keeps extending, I believe it's at 23 right now, is most consecutive made field goals to begin an NFL career, okay? Number 2, multiple 59-plus yard field goals in the same game. He did that. This is a rookie kicker, a guy that was a software engineer a year or 2 ago, okay? This guy is now the most successful kicker in the NFL this season. That's who he is. He is a Pro Bowl kicker this year as an old rookie. And we can talk about him whatever we want, but it's not about him. It's about what he represents. Kicking, I've said this since I was a child. Kicking is the simplest aspect in sports. Now, I actually played baseball with a guy who ended up being a long snapper for the Lions. That's the second most simple position in the NFL because you just have to long snap. But he had to put on weight and he had to get his 40 down to be draftable, and he did that. Shout out to Jimmy Landis. Former long snapper for the Lions and former catcher for me. But the simplest position in all of professional sports is being a place kicker in the NFL. Yes, there's a snap, there's external factors to some extent, but you get used to it. You can kick the ball far consistently and accurately, and you deserve to be in the NFL. Now, we see a little more acceptance of people that aren't football lifers, soccer players getting signed. I think it was I don't know which SEC team it was that picked up a guy out of a frat to be a kicker because he was a high school kicker, a soccer player. We're accepting the reality that these guys aren't football players, and if you got a leg, put them out there. But what we're not realizing is how we don't have the 32 best kickers in the world in the NFL. I don't even think we have close to that. I think there are way more Brandon Aubreys out there in the world, okay? There's a dude on TikTok, you've probably seen him, named Destroying. Now, I get that he's kicking balls in a casual circumstance. I understand that. And I understand why teams would be hesitant if you don't have maybe a major college football kicking experience. So you don't understand the pressure of it and you don't want to risk it. But he's got a leg on him. He's kicking bombs. He has more potential, more leg as a kicker than most of the guys in the NFL right now. I mean, I'm a Bills fan. We got Tyler Bass. He's not great. It's halftime and we're throwing a Hail Mary from when we could have a 60-yard field goal attempt because we don't trust our kicker to try a 60-yarder. I'm not saying you need to nail it. I'm saying if we can't attempt a 60-yard field goal to end the half, you shouldn't be kicking for this team. Point blank, period. Okay? You can't tell me there's not 32 better kickers or that we have the best 32 kickers in the NFL. You know how many scouts we have that are scouting NFL talent? Players do, or scouts look at 8,000 players. 8,000 players. That is a standard review for a scouting team leading up to the NFL draft. 8,000 players? Are you kidding me? And we can't put a little bit of effort towards trying to see if a dude like destroying, if a dude like that is legit. We can't create some pressure for him. We can't put him in a preseason game. I just don't understand it. We're doing everything to win, everything to find the best talent, and we can't find a way to test if these YouTube kickers have some potential. Sure, cut him after one game. Miss an extra point, cut him. I understand. Have a backup kicker for a little bit. Put him on the practice squad for a little bit. And see later on, maybe we'll have him attempt some field goals in a game where we're more comfortable with the lead. We put him in excruciating practice situations, preseason games, whatever. There's got to be a way to test him. There's got to be a way to put. You could even tell a guy like that, hey, you know what? Go find a spot on a college team. Show that you can kick under real circumstances. Go kick on some SEC team. It will draft you. Do that. Do something. What you're doing right now is ineffective. We don't have the best kicking talent in the NFL. That's all I'm saying. Sin City Syndicate says, you mad? I am. I'm deeply upset with the lack of effort towards recruiting the best kicking talent in the NFL. Now, as a Bills fan, especially because I just feel like we've left points on the board with Tyler Bass. We would have won the Philly game if you were a better kicker. We probably would have won the Denver game if you were a better kicker. And we're leaving points on the board. And we, in the future, may cost us games. And this is a team that is ready to make a Super Bowl run. We can't have weak kicking. We can't be leaving points on the board. And if you bring someone in that just has a chance at making a 63-yarder, I would prefer that. Tyler Best, stock plummeting, says Kylie. I mean, that's how I feel, and I ride for the Bills. Like, I really don't criticize players much at all. I love our team. I love our guys. I like Bass for a while, but he's not it. We need to do it. Leo says, how do I feel about Buffalo this week? I feel good, Leo. I feel like they're prepared to beat the Cowboys. They're 2.5-point favorites at home. I'll be there making the quick trip to Buffalo this weekend so I can be there. Josh Allen needs me, but I feel good about them. I also, the way the Dolphins fumbled that game, I think the Dolphins lose to the Cowboys. I think the Dolphins lose to the Ravens. So if the Bills were to lose to the Cowboys, then they play the Patriots and they play the Chargers without Herbert, most likely, Easton Stick. They definitely win those games. And then they go in at 9-7 against the 10-6 Dolphins in Week 18. And if they beat them, they win the division at 10-7. So not only do I like the Bills against the Cowboys in this spot, I think the Bills will win the division. I think they're going to be playing Week 18 at Miami for the division. They beat Miami 48-20 last game. I understand blowouts aren't super indicative. I'm not saying they're going to be 27-point favorites. But if the Bills played at Miami right now, they'd probably be 3.5-point favorites. Vinny, I'm having a good day. Appreciate you asking. We are the Broncos this week, Leo. Who do they play? Before we get to this final topic here. The Broncos this week. Broncos, I glanced at their schedule. They have like some weaker, interesting. They're playing the Lions. I got the Lions on my trending down list. The Broncos are not flashy. They don't look great doing it. Russ doesn't look great doing it, but they're winning games and they're playing good football. Their defense is strong. Goff struggled last week. I know they're gonna try to bounce back from that, and I don't expect another 13-point performance. But if they can keep the Lions under 21, I think they win that game. It's a weak defense. Matt McKnight, what's going on with the whack TikTok stories I got going on lately? So, Matt, I addressed this already earlier before we get to this final topic, but I like to spread rumors and things that are going to create animosity and discord in the locker rooms of other teams that increase the likelihood of the Bills winning the Super Bowl. I'll do anything for the Bills. And if it means spreading some lies about other teams, I'm happy to do it. Also, I do get paid for views. So when everyone wants to come in and talk trash, I'm getting paid for that. Broncos last 4 games are Lions, Pats, Chargers, Raiders. Playoff lock. I think they win 3 games. I think it's realistic they win 3 games. That would put them at 10-7. Max bet this weekend. I can't tell you that yet. No worries, McKnight. I appreciate it. Anyone who's smart knows when I'm kidding on TikTok, by the way. Like, anyone who thinks about it, people are mad. Like, you're lying, dude. You're lying. I'm like, of course I'm lying. Of course I'm lying. Anyway, so yeah, I think the Broncos go 10-7, and that likely puts them in, but it's just such a traffic jam right now in the AFC to who gets to the playoffs. They got to beat the Pats. They're playing the Chargers with Easton Stick, so they got to get that. They most likely beat the Raiders, but that's not a sure thing. So I would say they split Lions and Raiders. They beat Pats and Chargers. They're 10-7. There's a chance, though. I think the Pats have an easy Final Four game, so they'll end up being 12-5. So I don't think the Broncos have a chance at the division, but there's a prayer. They split, so I don't really know how it plays out if both teams are 11-7. But yeah, I do think the Broncos make the playoff, but I wouldn't say lock yet. Lurkin guy, good to see you, bro. All right, let's get to this final topic, and then my last pick of the day. Someone's asking me max bet this weekend. Plays will be up on SoBet, as always. Anyone wants to grab those, I post my full slate every single day. We do recaps. I've got a whole props channel now as well. And then you also get every additional person on there, their content, their picks, etc. You can grab that on there as well. No additional costs, less than $10 a month for all that. If you're not on SoBet and you're a sports bettor, I'm like, are you? That's all. So I just don't have my picks yet. I don't do research too far in advance in terms of this next weekend's plays. I want to see how the lines shape up and everything. I want to wait for any injury updates and so on before I really get in the lab, but that's going. Matt McKnight, speaking truth, Broncos favorite not to make it. I might have to take that plus money action. That's all I'm saying. All right, final topic. This is the Super Bowl prediction. For those of you who are on my YouTube video, okay? You guys know I like to joke around. You know I like to have a good time. I like to say outrageous things. I like to be animated. I like to entertain. Sometimes I like to deceive and tell nasty little lies and piss people off. But when I talk about playoff predictions and Super Bowl predictions, I like to give you facts. I like to give you facts, and I like to give you an actual experienced opinion. And I've said this so many times. We like numbers. We like probability. We like analytics, and you have to do that. Yahoo spitting facts. But if you don't have a good eye test, you will never be a successful sports bettor. You need to look and see what's happening and understand, because you can't evaluate talent. You can't look at what's on paper, look at stats, and say you're capable of evaluating talent. The example I always give is we have so many different stats for evaluating quarterback efficiency and effectiveness. Okay, how successful are they under pressure? How successful are they in a blitz situation? How successful are they relative to the war of their offensive line? How successful are they relative to the talent of their wide receivers? But there are too many variables. Are they under pressure a lot? Is it their fault? Because if Josh Allen has a weak offensive line, he's going to make do with that more because he can throw out of the pocket better than other guys. Okay, that goes to Josh Allen. So the point is, if you can't watch a game and understand what you're seeing, you're not going to be successful as a sports bettor. So when I talk about my Super Bowl prediction here, Brooks, not this time, but we will generally moving forward. We will be adding call factor. So when I talk about this Super Bowl prediction, I am relying on two teams that I have watched religiously. I got Sunday ticket. I watch just about every single game of the NFL. That's what I love to do. But the teams I'm talking about, I'm going to start with the unsurprising team from the NFC. I said this after the Eagles played the Chiefs and confirmed my suspicions about both those teams, that they are pretty mid. Pretty unimpressive, a far cry from their glory of last year. I said I'm going to make my Super Bowl prediction right now because it's not going to be either of those teams. Real quick, best wings in the city. If you're talking New York City, it's Dan and John's. Those are Buffalo guys. They know how to make a Buffalo wing. All right. 49ers coming out of the NFC. This isn't a hot take, but it's a take I've had since everyone else made it hot, okay? I've had this since day one, and people wanted to say, oh, no, are they better than the Eagles? Yes, they're better than the Eagles. They said, oh, they're your 3.5-point favorites away against the Eagles? How are the Eagles? Dogs at home. They're the best team in the NFL. They have the best record. They're not the best team in the NFL, and the Niners slapped their dick all over them. It's exactly what we expected to happen. No surprises whatsoever. You know what this Niner team is doing? They're balling out, and everyone wants to be like, Brock Purdy's not the MVP. Statistically, he is. Realistically, he's not. I agree with that. But he doesn't have a big ego. He knows he's just a cog in the machine. Guys, you're on. He knows that he is just I don't want to say just a system QB. He's a QB that benefits from the system and amazing weapons and plays well. That's who Brock Purdy is. But he doesn't flex. He doesn't talk like that. Nobody on the team does. You got the best left tackle in the NFL, maybe ever, Trent Williams. He doesn't run his mouth like that, really. Not about himself, just talking trash to the other team. You got Brendan Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuels, George Kittle. None of those guys are big ego guys. You can tell the way this team even blocks for each other. You can tell that this is a real team. This is an elite locker room. This is a team that probably benefited from coming up short last year and not having a legitimate chance, because they didn't lose faith in themselves because they knew it was a result of not having a quarterback. But they didn't get what they wanted. They didn't get the Super Bowl and all the praise and love that they wanted, and they have to go back and get the job done. And this whole team knows that they are just a part of it, and they need to do their job and contribute to get this team where they need to be. This is a really formidable team if they stay healthy, and that's why these predictions are always up in the air, because health is always up in the air in the NFL. But you can't tell me any team is better in the NFC than the 49ers right now. The Cowboys are the second best team, and they could beat the Niners despite having gotten massacred the first time they faced each other. But yeah, the Niners would be 5-point favorites at a neutral site against any team in the NFC. Now, that's not super surprising. What you're going to see from the AFC, let me explain this in a little bit more detail, how the next few weeks are going to play out. The Chiefs are going to win out their 4 games. The Ravens are going to go 3-1. Okay? They're going to beat the Dolphins. They're going to go 3-1. Okay? They're going to take the 1 seed. Then we're going to have the Chiefs. Then we're going to have the Dolphins scraping in. The Dolphins are going to lose to the Cowboys and to the Ravens. The Bills are going to beat the Dolphins. On week 18, the Bills are going to win the AFC East. Even if they don't beat the Cowboys, which they will, the Bills are going to win the AFC East, okay? That means they're going to get a home game in the first time. They're going to play a team that is something like the Colts or the Steelers or the Jake Browning Bengals or the Dolphins, who they own, who they've beaten 10 out of the last 11 matchups, okay? So that's what we're going to see. So now round 2 of the AFC playoffs, you're going to have the Ravens facing the 4 seed. You're going to have the Bills probably in Arrowhead. And you're going to have the Ravens playing some pushover team like the Broncos, the Jake Browning Bengals, the Gardner Minshew Colts, maybe the Jaguars at best. We'll say the Ravens play the Jaguars, okay? I don't think the Jaguars are that good. I think they're falling apart, and we don't know how healthy Trevor Lawrence is. But we saw significant growth from Trevor Lawrence in the second half of last year, his second year. And we thought, okay, he might make big strides. He might deliver on that expectation. He might be a top 5 quarterback. And he hasn't really shown that progression this year, okay? Fumbles a lot. He throws picks. He's not super accurate. He misses throws. Not amazing in the pocket. He's not making big runs. He's fine. He's good. He's a team he's a player that can get his team to the playoffs. It's not a Super Bowl contender. So now we got the second round of the AFC. Okay, so the Bills are playing the Chiefs in Arrowhead, and the Ravens are playing the Jaguars at home. The Ravens are going to win that game. The Bills are going to win that game just like they did the last 3 times they played the Chiefs. If it weren't for the 13 seconds, the Bills would have beaten the Chiefs 4 out of 5 times. Every single game has been at Arrowhead. Arrowhead. I'm not on some Burrowhead nonsense. It's just a place that's not scary for the Bills. It's a team that's not scary for the Bills. The Bills played a B+ game, and they won. Okay, I think they could have dominated the Chiefs, but they won the game regardless. They proved that they can stop Mahomes. Banged up defense. They know how to scheme against them. They know how to stop them. The Bills were more scared of the Chiefs 2 years ago, especially after 13 seconds, and they built a machine to beat the Chiefs. That's the team they created. Okay. So the Bills beat the Chiefs, and the Ravens beat the Jaguars, and the Bills go to Baltimore for the AFC Championship. And they play Baltimore. Last year, they were down 17 points in the second half to Baltimore, and they came back and they beat them in the rain in Baltimore. Okay? I know it's a different team to some extent. It's the Bills. It's always been the Bills. In fact, the Bills are 2.5-point favorites at home against the Cowboys. Okay? So that means that they're 1-point favorites at a neutral site. What's the most unbiased player ranking or team ranking in the NFL? It's Vegas. Okay? So the Bills are better than the Cowboys according to Vegas. So the Bills are better than every team in the NFL aside from the Niners and maybe the Ravens according to Vegas. I think definitely the Ravens. So the Bills beat the Ravens, and now we have Niners-Bills in the Super Bowl. That's the script. That's how it's going down. And it's not outlandish. I'm not saying anything crazy needs to happen. The Bills need to win three of their final 4 games, which are the Cowboys, they're favored, The Patriots, they're going to be 14-point favorites. The Easton Stick Chargers, they're going to be 10-point favorites. And the Dolphins, they're going to be 3.5, 4-point favorites. Bills need to win 3 of those games. They're in the playoffs. There's a world in which 2, if there's a total meltdown from the Dolphins. But anyway, so they're in the playoffs, and then they need to beat 3 teams that they're better than. It's not an outlandish prediction. It's the likely outcome. Okay, so you want to take the Bills to win the AFC at plus 800. You got my support, baby. Bills are plus 300 to win the division. I'm on it. There you go. There's your Super Bowl matchup, and there's your show. The picks that I shared today, I'll run them back one more time. You've got the Mavericks over the Lakers. That's plus money dog. You've got over 219.5 in the Nuggets game. Okay, and you got over 231.5 in the Suns-Warriors game. That was at 234.5. The public pushed it down because they're afraid of big numbers, despite that being light for these 2 teams. And Tuesday is public day for the NBA. That's how we get it. Nuggets game over. We have over in the Nuggets game. We have the Mavericks money line, and we have the over in the Suns game. You want my plays every single day. You want the props as well. Everything. They go up daily on SoBet. Get involved. Get on board. This is how we win. December is where winners are built. That's how we finish the year strong. It's how we finish the NFL season strong. When everyone else is tired and mentally beaten down and emotional and falling for the landmine of trips that Vegas is setting, trying to get the coin back, we keep winning. We keep grinding up. Thank you, gang. Cheers. Love all you, except for the ones I hate. Stay